What up, YouTube? Zeeboub there for the part 2 of Penance Guide. Yup, in today's video we are covering how do I do my first swap PBrand. I will cover some upgrade and like 2 endgame version without mage blood, just to give an idea of what you could accept a bit later on in the endgame, like in the early endgame I would say. So first of all, I just want to mention we have been working on the guide here, so now it's looking like that. It looks way better. You have access to more easier information on the left side now. So you can directly go on the section you're looking for. So it looks better. This is not full there. There is a lot of stuff missing. You can see the table of content. Everything that is white is not covered. I haven't covered the late game part with Mage Blood. A lot of crafting are still not there. The Q&A is still not there, but it looks way better and it is more easy for you to navigate through everything. So on the last video, we stopped on the iced part. While I was going in iced, I'm mainly going in iced to earn my few divine cows in order to buy the gear I need for the swap. So what do we need to swap for PBrand? We're looking for Impulsa. Impulsa is usually around 50 cows, 80 cows, a divine orb when you will buy it. 50, 80 cows should be a divine when you should buy it. So it's around a divine pretty much early. We are looking for a Shaper helmet. I will explain why. We are also looking for a triple cluster. This is the pub you should accept. A triple cluster with Remarkable. An early weapon, early amulet, a ring with endurance charge on kill. And the rest is just pretty much life resist where you can get it. The belt is still the same I was using in Ice early. So, Penance, you need to understand how Penance of Dissipation works. Penance of Dissipation is a spell that is base physical, and it got, inside the spell itself, it got 50% of physical converted to lightning. So what we want with the skill is convert the other 50% parts. Oh, there is a gem such as physical to lighting support. We can get the 50% conversion. There is a lighting mastery here. You can get another 40%. You will be missing 10%, but there is other ways such as globes implicit, timeless jewel to get the other conversion part. In the later part, I'm converting. I will covering other way to get the conversion. And Penance of Dissipation is a skill that require some gear level. So the skill can stack up to 20 stacks on the targets. If you have 2 brand at once on the target, you will stack twice faster. You can go up to 20 stacks, and every time you get a stacks, your pulse will deal more and more damage. So you will ramping your damage. And the idea of the skill is getting the 20 stacks as fast as possible and pulsing at 20 stacks for a long amount of time. So this is why duration is important, because if you have, for example, a low cast speed and low duration, you will probably not be able to reach 20 stacks. So you will stack at low stacks, ramp up to maybe 10, 15 stacks, and then your brand will expire and you will have to restart ramping again. And your damage will not be as good as if you have a fast ramping up and you're pulsing at 20 stacks like for a couple of seconds. So caster speed really important for Penance, duration really important for Penance. So those 2 stats are like extremely good, and we are getting those stats. Caster speed, we get it on a weapon, and we get it on the Remarkable. It's a notable on medium cluster, for example. Our duration, we have a bit of duration over here on the brand skill, and a bit more duration there. So that being said, what do we need? I'm looking for Herbalab Dawn, first of all. It's explained there in the guide, over here. That is the minimum requirement I ask you to get before swapping. If you done the ace part, you will have enough regret orb, you will have enough gold. We're gonna able to respect everything with Faustus. And I'm highly looking for my Herbalab done, so I can go crit directly. I'm looking for a Shaper helmet. Shaper helmet, we're gonna use an helmet like this, with spell crit and hypo early. Why this helmet is so good? Because it allows us to skip the 6-link part from the impulsor, and we can also craft +1 AoE gem on the helmet, so it's kind of a 6.5 link, or like you can see it as a 6 link, but this is really good helmet. And later on we are going with a more powerful helmet, an 8-link helmet, so going for a 6-link like this is really cool. Best case scenario will be to have +3 spell crit and hypo, but for the first swap, if you have only spell crit or only hypo, this is fine. If you have only hypo, you will have to play crit support gem, because you will be missing some crit. If you have spell crit, of course you don't go increase crit, and you go for another damage support. I don't know what Gemma was running there. Instead of, yeah, we'll probably get the same setup here, because Conk is probably better than hypo. In order to proc hypothermia. Hypothermia is a gem that gives more damage against enemy if they are chill. So we will be playing Hatred. So this is how we get the chill early. I'm gonna talk about the gear, and I will go over the aura setup there. First weapon, there is 2 mandatory stats we are looking for. We are looking for any +1 lighting, physical, all of those 3 works, since Penance is a lighting and physical skill, and all, of course, it works on everything. So any of those 3 mod, plus a good cast speed roll, and then after, I'm looking for either spell damage, crit chance for spell, crit multiplier, and if there is a weapon showing with the 2 mod I want, and one of those 3 mod I'm looking, I've been seeing there, I'm just gonna craft the other one. It's gonna be a 4-modded weapon. It's gonna be a weapon like this, for example, like a +1 cast speed, multi, and then I craft spell damage. If there were spell damage here, I will craft multi, and so on. So this is like 4-mod weapon that are good. Flat to spell, it's not the end of the world for the increased damage. It's still something, but do not focus too much on the flat, because Penance scale really well with gem level and physical as extra. Flat is not that good. We don't have that much effectiveness, so flat's still something, but do not focus too much on that. So 2 weapon, 4-modded weapon like this. Weapon type, we can either use wand, scepter, or ring dagger. If the first weapon you buy it's a wand, you will have to look for another one, because you can only dual wield 2-1. If the first weapon you buy is a scepter or ring dagger, you can buy a scepter or another ring dagger. Like in my trade research that is running early league, I'm looking just for a weapon like this with the 2 mod I want and one other mod, and then I look for an open craft, so I have my 4-mod weapon. If the first one I buy is a wand, I'm looking for another wand, and if it's a melee weapon, I look for either a scepter or a dagger. The differences between those 3 will be ring dagger will have implicit crits, scepter will have increased elemental damage implicit, and one can have increased spell damage or caster speed. Obviously, caster speed is king with Penance brand, but having a good one with caster speed implicit will cost like probably a good chunk of money. So we covered the weapon, the helmet. If there is none on the market, there is nothing interesting to buy. How we craft those, it's basically Reforged Crit Harvest on high level 84 bases. We are looking for good ES bases. You can buy an armor and energy bases too. Just don't spend too much on a T1 basis, for example. In my opinion, it's not worth it. Just grab a basis at 5 cows and do your Reforged Crit in there. We are looking for either +2 or 3 and any tier of hypo, and that's gonna be your helmet for a really long time. Do not focus on socketed spell +1, because in my opinion, it's not worth it. You will be losing way too much crit, and it's gonna be way harder to fix your crit. So +2 or 3 spell crit, any tier of hypo, you craft +1 AoE, and you have your 6-link helmet. Impulsor, as I said, it's around 1 Divine Early League. Storm Gift, so it synergizes extremely well with Impulsor. So Impulse is whenever you kill a shock enemy, it will explode. Storm Gift allows you to sprint the shock, and on top of that, you have enemy you kill as shock. So this is how we are chaining explode, and it makes the clearing of the skill extremely good. So the combination of those two items are extremely powerful. Some people don't like Storm Gift because there is like few stat on the item. That is understandable. There is other way to get shock spread in the game. You have a lighting mastery, for example, that gives you shock spread. You have implicit on gloves on the Eldritch implicit. But it will not be as good as Storm Gift because Storm Gift gave enemy you kill as shock. This is how you are chaining your explode, and the clear feels really good. So personally, I go Impulse plus Storm Gift early. It's just like really good. I don't have to be bothered about getting Eldritch Implicit on gloves. Of course, having rare gloves will open you more life, maybe a bit more damage via tempo mod gloves and stuff. A bit easier fix on your resistances. But I'm just such a big fan of those two. Boots, this is just life movement speed boots. Good stuff you can get on the boots on the Eldritch Implicit early will be life regeneration rate and action speed. Right? Those two stats are pretty good. You can have res if you're missing some res too as well. But the main two implicit I'm looking for is action speed and life regeneration rate, because we are Inquisitor once again, and life regeneration rate apply to your ES as well. So this is where it comes like doubling your life, and you know what I mean, right? Like more regen, more ES regen. This is really good. Amulet, we are looking for any +1, same thing as the weapon. +1 all, +1 fizz, +1 lightning, with a bit of stat. To be honest here, it depends on what there is available on the market. How I'm doing my trade research is any of those three are +1, and I'm adding either crit multi or caster speed on top of that, and I'm looking for also good stuff such as resistances, life, and open craft. So amulet at least +1, and Ezra caster speed or multi with also good stat in there that will do the job. Important on the ring, we are looking for endurance charge on kill ring. This is really important for defense early on. For the mapping process, Endurance Charge on Kill will carry a lot. Endurance Charge on Kill now provides 4 elemental damage mitigation and 4 physical damage mitigation. This is extremely strong, and it synergizes extremely well with cats with damage taken early on map for defense. Other ring is just grab a ring to fix your res, get some life. You can get some caster speed in there. You can craft some minus cost if you want, and just kind of whatever in there. Caster speed is really good stat, once again. Belt is just life res, and the mod I really like, reduce flash charge use, so I'm able to use more of my flask. Flask setup, we are going for a granite with increased armor. The prefixes, if you can, try to get flask charge when you deal a critical strike. It will be useful in single target situation for sustaining your flask. A diamond flask. Diamond flask, you can go with, to be honest, like whatever. I put regen there. We saw that we had some betrayal changes, so we're gonna accept to be able to craft some flask on some to unlock them during the Atlas progression. No idea if it's gonna be later in the campaign. Same thing for the AoE helmet. No idea where it's gonna be. Well, we will see. So regen is a really good mod. Silver Flask to go faster. Onslaught really good. Caster speed, movement speed with a bit of crit, and a Quicksilver movement speed. Adziri's Promise, a really strong flask because it provides us leech early. It's a good way to get our leech, and also the flask is really good for damage because we gain a physical part as extra chaos, and then we also gain some elemental as extra chaos. So So that's it for the gear. Then we go to the tree. Tree, there is a lot of change compared to armor brand. But we are looking mainly for dual large and triple remarkable. Thank you everyone for the subbies. Got the video. Well, I'll sing everyone later. So triple remarkable, really important. Why? First of all, it gives caster speed and 35% chance to create an additional brand. So whenever we will cast a brand, it's gonna be 2 brand at once. Extremely good, right? And since we're able to attach 2 brand at once on the enemy, that will be like literally instant attached to an enemy and then ramping up to 20 stacks and deal damage. So triple remarkable will feels extremely good, and I highly recommend to do your first swap PBrand with those 3 remarkable because it will feel like really, really good. In order to craft those, I personally look for bases, and I'm crafting them with alteration. I don't mind if there is another notable with it. I'm just grabbing remarkable. Good thing to mention there, if you're looking to do that in crafts, make sure you're buying a 4 passive one. Because if you go for a 5 passive one and you have your notable remarkable, you will have 2 small notable, then your notable, or I mean, it will be like, instead of 3 points, it will be 4 points to have access to the notable plus the jewel socket. So make sure you have a 4 passive skill instead of 5. On the large cluster, there is 2 notable I really enjoy. One is Storm Rider. This way we are able to generate our power charges. Really good. And another one, which is Doriani. This one is not that easy to acquire early because it's kind of rare. I will give in the guide, in the G-Doc, there is something we could talk about this. This is a really cool website over here. This is a website that allows you to put 2 notable you want. For example, I will put Doriani Lesson and I will put Storm Rider in there and I will calculate. So there we go. The website will pretty much calculate the 2 notable you want on the pathing, and then it will give you all of the solution possible to have this type of cluster. And you can use it for any cluster. So this is a really useful website. And so we can look at the research there. All of those will give me a cluster that have Doriani Lesson and Storm Rider on pathing. So as you can see, if I look online, like a jewel like this is like not, and this will not be available on early league. This is why I'm mainly going with 1 notable on pathing, such as Leech and Storm Rider. Storm Rider is also available somewhere else. You can get it on medium cluster, effect on non-damaging element. That could be a solution if you didn't find any large cluster with Storm Rider on pathing. You can also import on a tribe white side. You can copy past and look at POB to see what is the notable unpathing there. So it's also a useful thing you could do in order to get your large cluster. Those notable are not mandatory. You don't need them for the swap, right? Edges here, you have them. This is cool. You will keep those clusters for a really long ass time. If you don't have them, at the beginning, I remember a couple of leagues ago, just grabbing a large cluster to get my triple remarkable and call it a day without any notable, and then swap later on. The rest of the jewel socket will be mainly live multi, and you get other stuff such as resistances, attributes, whatever stat you can grab. Obviously, the best jewel will be live double multi, but those are expensive really, so just 1 live multi is really good. That's pretty much it for the first swap PBrand. So it will not cost you that much to swap for the first PBrand. It will mainly cost you regrets. Crafting the remarkable is fairly easy. I personally buy like 6 cluster and do my remarkable research in the stash, and then just alt spam augment until I find my triple remarkable. You can do the same thing and craft some cluster with alt spam. I've done that in Fresia League. I end up with like some good resale cluster, but it takes you a lot of time and a lot of alteration to buy and stuff. So this time I will just look on the trade and snipe one for cheap if I can. Also, thing I could mention on the tree here is we are going penetrament, of course. Penetrament, how do we achieve this? We are going with, where is my raw setup? We're using Petrified Blood. Petrified Blood will make you low life. So basically Petrified Blood is this. It will make me low life. I'm not gonna be able to go higher than 50% of my HP, except with a life flask. And if I am above 50% of my HP, my spell will cost life as well than mana. So this way I could reach my low life cap. So Petrified Blood, pretty strong because it allows us to go for Penance Treatment, which is more spell damage. And we have some empty HP over there that we could fill with an arrogant setup with Vitality, Precision, and Clarity. So we're able to run those 3 aura on our life pool, and then we're also low life to get the more spell damage. But you're wondering like, oh, I'm cutting my HP in half? Yes and no, because Petrified Blood works in a way where when you get hit, like you get a 1k damage hit, you will take 600 damage directly and then 400 damage later as a degen. So it's not like you're cutting your HP in half. It is, you lose a bit of HP running it, but you have access to some life reservation and more spell damage. Once again, in the guide, I'm talking a bit more about Petrified Blood and Leech. I could mention Leech here. We want to have a little buffer of HP there, so whenever we Leech, since we are not able to go above the low life cap, we have access to this stuff called Perma-Leech. When we are hitting an enemy, the enemy is dead, but we are still lynching for a couple of seconds after. It's a really good defense, and it's really strong against degen and stuff. So Leech, Petrified Blood, and low life tech is really cool. It's pretty strong. Alright, the aura setup. We did change our aura setup. We are running Zeal and Hatred. Zealotry, obviously more spell damage, some crit, and also a thing that people do not like realize is Zealotry gives you a 10% chance to create common ground on it whenever you hit a rare or unique enemy, and it's synergized extremely well with Sanctuary. Since we are hitting quite often, we are able to create common ground under the bosses, and so we get the full benefit from Sanctuary. So really cool. Zealotry. Hatred here. Just since the skill is physical, we're getting a lot of extra damage, and we are able to get our hypothermia proc. In the weapon, I'm usually going for Immortal Cold, cast when damage taken, low level setup. Summon Stone Golem is here to get extra regen, still good to have. It's a bit annoying because you will die time to time, so you will have to recast, but you will get used to. A treating setup, Assassin's Mark against Search Flame Dash. And here we have the Blessing setup. Here there is a lot of stuff to talk about. Blessing setup. What is Guardian Blessing? Guardian Blessing is supported aura blessing applying to your minion. So basically, it will give you a free 50% aura. What I mean by free is it will not be applying on your mana, but you will get it coming from your minions. But the downside will be your minion will be slowly dying because the gem give to the minion 12% of their maximum life as physical damage per second. We have a special minion called Dark Marionettes in the game. This is this minion there. It's usually around 5 to 10 carats early league. This minion is available in Ritual, and the specificity of this minion there is whenever it die, it resummon by themselves. So instead of using, for example, this Ray Spectre on your Summon Stone Golem, and whenever he dies, you will have to recast your Resummon Stone Golem and then recast your Aced Aura, which is like annoying. Ray Spectre combo with Guardian Blessing is really cool. How do we do that? As we are using Ray Spectre. Might be confusing. There's a lot of information to understand, but it's not complicated. Basically, you will buy your Dark Bayonet from the trade. You will have those in your inventory. You will right-click on them, and then the corpses will be on the floor. You can resummon them by using Ray Spectre. And whenever those are up, you are able to cast your aura ace. Then hop, there you go, you have your aced aura. I'm trying to not go really high on the Guardian Blessing, because higher you go, they will take more and more damage, so your uptime on aced will be not as good as a low-level Guardian Blessing. But going higher in the level, you will gain some aura effect too. So as you can see there, it's taking 12% of physical. They're slowly degening. I think I should lower the level a bit, just to make sure they are not degening. They stay at like the same amount of HP. And we are also using mid shield support, which give minion take less damage, and also they have defensive. What I mean by this is they are staying around me as close as possible, so they get the benefit from my vitality aura and as well of the Conground. So this is why they're staying alive like this for a really long time. Thing I could mention is be careful to not do a trade. I mean, you can do a trading setup and skip mid-shield, but the uptime will be not as good as with mid-shield. But maybe in your build, you can only have access to a trading and you have to skip mid-shield. If you do so, careful. If it's a trading, you're kind of tempted to put it in your weapon swap. But like, for example, here, if I weapon swap, oh shit, there is dex on my weapon. My ist here, it's gone. And I lose my minion. So be really careful about this by weapon swapping. And stuff, so your minion will be gone. You can still resummon them in your hideout, but in maps, if you somehow weapon swap and you kill them because you have no attribute requirement or they were in your weapon, they will pretty much be gone and you will have to rebuy them, so careful on this. So we mentioned this falling aura setup. The rest of the tree, there is a good thing I could mention. Going to get the reservation there. We have a bit more aura, aura effect mastery, a crit wheel here, and this crit thing too. This crit here, I'm going for the mastery effect of non-damaging element you inflict with crit. 50% is a lot. It allows you to shock at a higher percentage, easier to freeze. And a bit of life. Jewel socket, worth much today. I'm grabbing those two AoE node, and those are important. They are important because having explode and chain explode, you will have better clear going for higher explode radius. Basically, you want 10% AoE craft on your helmet. 10%. If it's 9%, you will lose a breakpoint, so definitely worth going for multiple craft and get 10%. And also grab those 2 AoE nodes, so you will achieve a 25 explode radius, which will make you clear even better. So that will be it for the first PBrand swap. Yeah, there is a lot of information. I know. In the G-Doc, I've been recapped here and everything. There is the pub, so definitely put your eyes in there and look at it. And we will cover, after getting the first swap, some, I would call it like mid game, the red maps and Atlas bosses. This is the setup that I'm running right now. So what did I change in there? I changed multiple things. I did change my aura setup. I did change my medium cluster, added a glorious vanity that we will cover. Pretty much the tree is still the same, just a bit few passive point allocated, a bit more life node, a cluster there. Oh, the upgrade I'm looking whenever I hit my first swap, I will be looking to fit another 50% aura. In order to do that, we are looking for Enlightened Tree. Yeah, Enlightened Tree can be a bit expensive, but that is worth it. So we are looking for Enlightened Tree. I'm also buying 3% reservation with 25% effect cluster. And I also changed my anoint to charisma. Charisma, this is golden oil. This is a bit expensive really, but this is a good upgrade. You can go further after doing your first swap. Because running another 50% aura, there is two things you can do. Either you will run double Herald of Purity or Herald of Ash. Or in my case, I personally like running Herald of Sand, Ras as another 50% aura because it opens access to Watcher's Eye mod, and there is a crazy one for Penance called Physical as Extra Lighting. Here in this pub example, I just show you. This is a perfectly roll. This is 25%. It go to 15 to 25%, but a max roll, one mod duel can give you up to 16.7% damage in one Watcher's Eye mod, which is like really crazy damage. This is why I'm going for with Ras, but if you don't have access to this duel, maybe you will prefer going for Herald of Ash and Herald of Purity. Herald of Ash is cool for the clear. It allows you to go with some cosmetics, so your build looks cooler when mapping. Literally up to you. I just choose Vras and having access to Watcher's Eye mod. So in order to play Vras, as I said, we are going with a small cluster reservation efficiency, Charisma Anoint, and Enlightened Tree. And so that way we are able to run our other 50% aura. Also swapping one ring slot, which is Death Rush. Death Rush is, in my opinion, such a really cool ring early because you are going faster in maps. You gain Adrenaline, which is 100% increased global damage. That scale your explode. So for clearing, this is like so good. You also get Recovery Life on kill, which is really good when you get a bunch of it and then you like blow the pack up and you're getting instantly full life. And also, yeah, that give you 20% movement speed and 20% caster speed. It is 20%? Yeah, it is. It is 20%, right? It's a 25% caster speed and movement speed. And also 10 flat fizz mitigation for even more defense through mapping. So really, really cool ring. And that's pretty much what I change. I also change and I go for Glorious Vanity. So the Timeless Jewel, there is a lot of different ones you can go. I personally do recommend to go for Glorious Vanity early because it gives you access to Corrupted Soul. Corrupted Soul is really good. It gives you some physical, some max life as yes. So that is more defense, and also we are splitting damage in half. So 50% of the non-chaos damage bypass energy shield. So why is that so good with Inquisitor? Since you have access to a lot of life in the S region, whenever you got hit, we're able to recover twice faster because the hit going on the life NES at the same time. And also, the Righteous Fire degen is applying on your life NES, so that's an easier way to sustain your Righteous Fire early. And going with Glorious Vanity, there is a speech because Glorious Vanity is a timeless jewel that I change every single small node there. You can have access to this one, Flash to Lighting, that give physical converted to lighting. There is also notable that give convert. There is a one for cold, a one for fire. Technically, the best one would be for lighting, but maybe there will be none available on the market whenever you are looking at one. How do we look for those? There is stuff here calling Find Timeless Jewel. We will go and select Glorious Vanity. We want Doriani Corrupted Soul. We are selecting the jewel socket there. We are looking for converts. As you saw there, there is triple conversion. Let's say we are looking for the lighting. We put minimum one node, and I think if I look for search, there it is. You have a list of all of the jewel timeless there that can give you your keystone and the notable you want on the mana stop there. And you can go with any of the three conversion. Maybe there were no lighting one, maybe some cold will show up on the market, so you will have to do on your own. And what is it that good is because 10% there allows you with the mastery to give another 40% over here. So you will get your conversion and you don't have to run physical to lighting support. And you're able to run inspiration. So if you look at physical to lighting support, it's kind of low on damage, even if it gives some physical as extra. You better have to run another damage support gem. So we are getting a bit of damage this way. We are getting some defense, easier way to sustain righteous fire. It's a fairly strong combo, Corrupted Soul, Glorious Vanity Jewel, and having access to this 50% conversion. This setup here, this is a setup I've made over here. So I will showcase you how does it feel in the maps. For example, and I will do a Maven. Basically, with this setup there, you're fine. You're really fine doing mapping. Atlas bosses are really easy to do. Only downside is we don't have access to that much defense. But as you see, Storm Gift, Impulse out the clear feels really good. I'm not in the need of casting Righteous Fire over here. I'm feeling good. One thing that I'm missing is this version there is a Stygian Vise belt. Because Stygian's Vise belt allows me to have an Abyss Jewel. And Abyss Jewel, I usually like to get phasing on kill. Phasing on kill will feel really good. So clear feels good. You see, that's a single target damage. Bosses die instantly. Damage good, clear good. Defense is fairly okay. It's not the best, but it's fairly okay. So you can see that is pretty good. I can showcase you a Maven if you want to see the damage for single target. If you're looking for some Uber bosses, some Pinnacle bosses. Worth mentioning, you're gonna find some, it's called a reflected map. There is, for your Atlas completion, there is Adziri as well that you have to kill. Doing Reflect, I'm basically going for Sibyl's Lemon Ring. That ring enable me 80% if I swap for my Death Rush, and you can have the Pantheon here, Ugul, that gives you 50%. So you will be immune to Adziri phase, and you're able to do your corrupted map that have Reflect Elemental. Technically, you should not kill Uber Pinnacle bosses with Death Rush because it doesn't give anything. You should have a ring that give you some life and caster speed, for example. But damage is more than fine, right? We are shocking like really high, we're chilling at 20%. So with this setup right now, what I'm personally doing is I'm looking for and to craft an 8-link helmet to have even more damage, because the 8-link helmet is around 120% more damage, which is like really, really crazy.
Stop resisting. Reality bends.
8-link helmet is like the painting part because it can cost you a lot. There is a video link I will give you on how to craft the helmets. But whenever you hack the Antlink helmet, you pretty much skyrocket on the damage. Damage is extremely good. And whenever I got my Antlink helmet, I'm pretty much comfy to do like bosses carry, for example. I post message on TFT doing I can kill your bosses with your cows. So that's a good way to get your cows early. I haven't paid attention at the... okay, there we go. So you will not struggle at all with damage. Damage is really good. And the setup here is like nothing crazy, just full mod weapon, +1 multi-amulet. I'm still missing a lot of damage on those 2 items. Spell crit hypo helmet. And oh, I forgot to mention that I have also this. I've changed those things into remarkable and grand design. I haven't mentioned that because this is really important to get. Brand design gives you brand attachment range, which is competence for mapping. Brand damage is good because global damage, and also brand duration. So you will have more pulse at 20 stacks with scaling your duration. This setup, extremely good. I mean, I've been doing some bosses and stuff. I even do that sounds weird, but I've been doing some Uber bosses with it as well on the last stream. I wanted to try and see how far I can go. So I failed Uber Baven. We did Uber Shaper. We did Uber Exarch, Uber Cortex. I've done some T17 maps. T17 maps are doable. However, map mod are actually shit. Like those map mod are so stupid. It costs so much chaos sort to get a map mod that are doable. There is so many absurd mod like you don't really want to do. Like you don't really want to do tank mod with this setup because you're missing the Antlic helmet and you will lose a lot of damage. Like for example, suppress map mod. You can do them, but you might struggle a little bit on bosses and stuff. So, but this setup definitely able to complete all of your atlas, unlock all of the slot map device and stuff, and do your farming strategy that do not require insane damage or insane tankiness, because the character is still in a squishy stage. So this is a really cool upgrade, and we can go more. But this is already like quite expensive, because like those. I usually craft those remarkable grand design, just old spam regal, and I craft mine. You can do some reforge speed if you want, but I just go old spam regal. This is the way I craft mine. Unlightened 3 cost a bit. Golden oil cost a bit. There is other option. You could do for the amulet. There is the +3, the replica dragon thing. The +3 amulet, which is, as you can see, there are a lot of damage, but this amulet usually not. This amulet costs a lot, and you don't need this to complete your atlas. It's good if you can get your hands on. Downside, you have no life, no access to brain range and stuff. But this is a really good choices you can get there. It's like, as you see, this is a lot of damage, like close to 20% damage, and it's just like really, really good. We mentioned the Siege Advise upgrade compared to the Strength belt implicit with life phasing on kill. The flask is still the same. So personally with this setup, I go and do my farm strategy and I go for an 8-link helmet. This is like quite later in the league. 8-link helmet can be really frustrating, but Jesus, 8-link helmet is the damage, man. This is the damage, bro. I swear, damage has just become absolutely crazy with it. I think this is this version here. Yup, we do have the helmet there. So this will be the damage gain if you craft an 8-link helmet like this. 125% more damage. This is really absurd the damage you can gain, and your damage will skyrocket to the moon. You're basically achieving like 80 million plus. So yeah, there is YouTube video talking about the helmet, how to craft it. It is paint champ. It is expensive. You can be lucky, craft the helmet with 15 div, or you can be unlucky and spend 50 div plus more. But this is like kind of the key of the build itself is this extremely powerful anti-leak helmet. There is where you can settle and go for only one influence, for example. Because if you go for one influence, it would be easier for you to get your +2 or +3 spell crit along with hypothermia, the essence mod, and you will have the implicit bases that give a lot of damage. You can settle for that if you want. I personally don't, because my damage is enough with sit up there, and I just go directly for the full 8-link helmet. I also swap in this version there. I also swap gloves to showcase you can do something else with your gloves. You can do. I still have this Glorious Vanity Jewel and combination with the Lighting Mastery, so I don't need to get my physical conversion of the gloves. But on the damage gloves, you could go for like Temple mod, for example, and increase damage with Liching. So this could be an even further damage increase compared to Storm Gift that give you nothing, like 12% more damage. So if you want to achieve damage, you definitely can. So you can do your boss carry or one tap and get bosses. More functioning there. If I don't have Storm Gift, I go for Shock Spell and Implicit. But as I said, Shock Spell and Implicit is not as strong as Storm Gift is for the clear. And the stuff here is still the same, like really bad amulets, the same ring, Death Rush, same Stygian there. Just this is just something that I wanted to show you, just like the Entling helmet damage difference and the gloves damage that you could get. And here we have two pods that I've been cooking to show different version you can do later on in the end game without Mage Blood. Of course, those two versions are gonna be expensive because it requires a lot of endgame gear. Some Forbidden Flame and Flesh setup that can be really expensive. We don't know about the prices. But I've been doing two versions. One Armor and Energy Shield with some Endurance Charge. You get your elemental damage mitigation this way. And one version with Evasion, Energy Shield, and Suppress. So we will cover the Energy Shield version Suppress there. So basically what changed in this one? We changed our body. We decided to go for an Explodey Flask to get our Explode. We have the 8-link helmet, of course. This is like advanced plus version of the build, but just to showcase what is you can do with late game. We are getting our conversion still through this Glorious Vanity there, the defensive Keystone Corrupted Soul, and the Mastery 40% convert here, and the 10% there. So we are getting our convert this way. The cluster are still the same. Leech, Power Charge Generation. The biggest difference there will be our Forbidden Flame and Flesh setup. This is Unwearing Crusade setup. This combo there gives you 7 Elemental Relic, and you have access to free Hatred, Anger, and Wrath. So that allows you to free up some reservation. So you can do something else with your so I decided to go with Grace and one Herald. You can choose which Herald you want. Maybe you will prefer Herald of Ash for some cosmetic stuff, but the most damaged one would be Herald of Purity, and you have those minions that can take the aggro sometimes, so it's not bad. So this version, as I say, it's focused more on Evasion and Suppress. Suppress, we are getting those on body, gloves, and boots. Of course, those items that you will see there, they are in-game items. They are expensive to craft. I try to not put 41 on those mods. As you see there, the life is kind of shit. It's just Temple mod gloves with a good suppress, some res, bad life roll, movement speed boots with life res, chaos res, suppress. This body armor is a bit, it's 22 suppress. The implicit are pretty good. Max roll, feast taken, a bit of chaos res and stuff. But you can achieve decent chance to suppress. You can have some max stress coming from the body. You have decent evasion, 65% chance, and we're also taking this mastery here that give some chance to block, so we can get 43% chance to block. So the evasion plus the block plus the suppress and the damage coming from the ancient helmet, that is maybe a version you will look into. Downside is you need an absurd amount of dex because the bases Necrotic Armor require 173 dex. This is like really pain to get, so you will have to get your dex on dex suffixes on your gear somewhere. And I've been using double 30 decks there. I have decks here on my small reservation efficiency duel. What else could I mention there? I think this is pretty much all of the builds. In this one, oh, I forgot to mention one thing. This is the Watcher's Eye. Since we have access to Anger and Hatred, there is 2 crazy Watcher's Eye what you can get. You can get a Watcher's Eye with this Forbidden Flame and Flesh that gives you 50% of physical as extra. That is a crazy Watcher's Eye jewel you can get. Of course, those 2 mods are perfectly rolled, but perfectly rolled, this Timeless Jewel will, this Watcher's Eye jewel will give you 28% damage. That is a really, really crazy one. Of course, with better gear, you will probably be able to achieve 4k life, 2k energy shield, good evasion, good block, suppress. But this might be a version you will look into, but in this version, I wanted to showcase you that you can get explode somewhere else than your body. Forbidden Flame and Flesh combo, and the Glorious Vanity. I mean, we are using this combo since pretty much the early upgrade of gearing swap PBrand. We do have another version, which is more focused on armor and energy shield with different timeless and different Forbidden Flame and Flesh. So this time around, we are going with Conviction of Power. Conviction of Power, minus 4 endurance charge and power charge. Extremely good. Why do I like with this one is I don't need to be worried about my power charge generation, and we have access to this endurance charge. I'm also taking a +1 endurance charge here, and I have a -1 endurance charge on my ring. So I have a total of 5 endurance charge that give me 20 flat physical mitigation and 20 elemental mitigation. So this is really cool end game to mitigate some of those damage. What is good about this one is it's synergized extremely well with this Keystone Iron Conviction coming from this Timeless Jewel, the Militant Faith, converted by the High Templar Dominus. There is a lot to talk about Militant Faith, and yeah, you're right, Van from the chat, it's not minus, it's minimum, so you will have those permanently up. Not minus, you're right, my mistake. So a lot of stuff to talk about this Militant Faith jewel. The Keystone here provide you a lot of damage. We have access to 4 power charges, so 12% more spell damage per power charge. You cannot generate Frenzy, so that is one downside, but we still have access to minimum Frenzy charges on our gear. You can get, or there are some other sources. This Timeless Jewel here, it is personally one of my favorite combo in the game you can do with Timeless Jewel. In this jewel, you have 2 lines that can change. As you can see there is reduced mana cost skill and increased effect on non-curse aura. I can show you all of the different ones probably. There it is. So you have all of those. Totem damage, brand damage, AoE, elemental, res. Good stuff are, in my opinion, skill cost is really useful because we're gonna struggle a bit in the mana cost later on with the 8-link helmet, so skill cost, really good. We have access to some global damage. Area damage, really cool. This is global damage for our brand, and explode, really awesome. You also have elemental damage that works for the explode in our brand. Brand damage only work for brand, but still a really good damage stat. You can have additional elemental resistances that can help you with your gearing. Skill cost, good one, as I mentioned, and we also have a non-curse aura effect that scaled your aura effect. Oh, a lot of good stuff you can go for. I personally decide to go for in the one that I'm showcasing here. It is just the 2 mods I like the most. Reduce mana cost skill and aura effect. Those aura effects scale, like my movement speed and castle speed and stuff like that. But general increased damage is good too. What is insane about this jewel is you have access to special notables such as like this one, Emu to Element Conroy, when you have at least 150 devotion. This jewel, you will get devotion by traveling, as you can see the node there that gives you devotion. All of these small nodes here give you devotion. And you can use the natural instant here to allocate all of the small node on the natural, but they are also in the range of the militant faith. This is how we can achieve such a big number of devotion there. So all of those small node there give devotion, and there is a lot of cool thing about this natural instant there. It give caster speed, global damage, AoE, duration, literally everything that we want with Penance. And on top of that, we get the devotion. And the two lines that I've been mentioning here, the reduced mana cost and the increased effect, scale by having the higher devotion. So that is close to 200% devotion. I mean, 200 devotion that give like close to 20% reduced mana cost and 20% effect of non-curse. Really strong. And depending which one you're running, some of those notable here can change or cannot change. It is really pain shame to figure it out which one are changing or not, but there is this fine timelet jewel on pass of building there. So you will select Dominus, Militant Faith, Dominus. Here there is the devotion modifier. You can select, let's say, I want skill cost at least, and this one I don't want any of those. I don't want any, doesn't matter. I just want for skill cost and grab one for cheap. Then you can add the notable that you want to protect to change. That is really cool. And you can also look for some special notable. There is plenty of good one. I highly recommend you to look on POEDB. One notable are in there. There is physical to conversion, physical elemental conversion, which can be really interesting for us because we do need 50% convert somewhere in our build. There is minimum endurance, frenzy, power charges. You have flat physical mitigation. You have Immune Ground, Immune Element on Ground. There is some other good one I'm missing, but you can have an insane, freaking insane Militant Faith. But those are extremely rare, and they can be extremely expensive. We saw back in like 325 where Fobgun were doing the build I was doing. He was looking for the exact same jewel I was using, and the prices of those jewels skyrocket to the moon to like 200 divine plus. It was like really stupid when I buy mine for, I don't know, a div or less. So let's say we want Conground there. You can look at search and you will have all of those here. And you can see you have Immune Ground on those two notable, but you can look for more. You can look, for example, yeah, I want, for example, a +1 max rate, which is extremely powerful, or maybe some flat phys mitigation. This is such a strong combo. I highly recommend you to look at those and make a really good research to snipe one for cheap because they can be like giga expensive. I can mention that in the radius of the timeless jewel, we have access to a mana wheel here. We are getting the 12% reservation efficiency to fix up the reservation in the build. As you can see there, reservation is kind of shit. The cost is 55 and we have only 63% mana. So this can be a bit annoying, but you can fix your mana with like reservation efficiency jewel or some implicit jewel to help a bit casting your stuff. So this is one of the reasons I was going for reduced mana cost as well on this mod there. So we talk about this. As I said, this version is more focused on armor and energy shield. One reason is I'm in love with this freaking keystone over there. I mean, this mastery here that give 100% increased armor and energy shield from equip body armor. If your equip helmet, gloves, and boots all have armor and energy shield, so you will literally doubling the stats from your body if your helmet, gloves, and boots, all of those three have armor and energy shield. So this mastery provide me here, in this case of this body armor, providing me 600 ES and 300k armor. And the body is not perfectly crafted. You can craft this body to get an absurd amount of armor and energy shield with 30% quality and stuff. So in this version, I get like 14k armor, and we have 2k5 energy shield. So this version more focus on armor, energy shield with some endurance charge for flat physical mitigation. The other version was more focusing on evasion, suppress, and stuff. But those two versions will be fairly good in the end game, and those are without mage blood, so we are missing a lot of power. And those items are of course not perfectly crafted. I mean, those are those are really good craft. I think I forgot to change the mod on those. That was the item I was using in my PBrand version back in 2025. But you got the idea there. Oh, I can mention there. Explode sources. What do we get in this one? We do not get it on the flask this time. We're getting on the weapon because there is explode synthesized mod you can get on a weapon. Those weapons are multi-mod craft. Those are not really expensive to craft. Maybe the bases will be. If you want a video talking about how to craft those weapons, this is fairly easy. And I could even mention not going for multiple mod, but just a weapon like this, explode bases, +1/+1, multi-mod, and one by mod, those weapons will carry your ass. Those are extremely powerful weapon. And having explode of the weapon, oh my god, that is so good because you are able to do not worry about explode on flask or body, and you're able to go for such a strong stack as Progenesis. Right, I think I'm pretty good of what I wanted to cover. The video is extremely long. I'm sorry about that. I hope everyone understand where we are looking for on different stuff. I just realized that I've been forgot about something is for early weapon. I can show you how to craft an early weapon if you want to. Oh goddamn, this is buggy. I'm gonna restart the game. If there is no good weapon early on the market, no, that's not it. If there is no good early weapon on the market, you can craft one. You will be looking to buy. You will be looking to buy a basis fracture on either one rune dagger or scepter with a +1 physical, +1 lighting, or +1 all spell skill gem. And you will basically just essence spam until you got a good mod. So I can grab, for example, let's say we kill this base. No, Dex, I do need Dex for the future showcase. Just grab the essence, and since you will be not using defending because it will be too expensive, you will be going for the deafening. Deafening of misery, but in this case I will just use those essence because I don't have the other one. And basically you will be looking for boom. Right, this is one essence. This is done. Maybe I've been a bit lucky there, but you will be looking for either spell damage modifier, multi modifier, or crit chance for spell modifier, depending if you do need crit chance. If you only have +2 spell crit on your helmet or +3, you might not be in the need of crit chance. But whenever I got this item, I just craft another mod, and my weapon is just good to go. Here I will craft spell on cows, and this is gonna be my weapon early. Like buy cheap bases, a few essence until you have multi crit chance and stuff like that, and you're pretty much good to go. You can even X the weapon there, and we could just to have a bit of fun to see if we're extremely lucky and we hit crit chance for spell. We hit chaos damage over time multiplier, but yeah, getting those 4-modded item early are, if there is none on the market or they are too expensive, maybe look to buy a fracture basis for a few cows and then spam a few essence. It would not be technically hard to get one of those two mod. Like this one, that's an hybrid spell damage. Man, that is kind of low, but could do the job. But we will go a bit more. There's nothing in there. Good cow sweats, but meh. Man, I don't have essence anymore. Here we got low multi. Open prefix. No open pref. Damn, I just go over. Bit of lighting, nothing else. We got quite unlucky there. With no multi, no spell showing. That one is fairly okay. It's a hybrid. We got some flat cold, which is not bad. It's still a bit of damage. We can craft crit multi and call it a day for the first weapon. So which is here. Just wanted to showcase this early craft. So we're pretty much good to go now. Of course, there is everything recap. Make sure to read everything there. All of this part over here. There is the section useful information when I'm talking about Watcher's Eye, Forbidden Flame, Timeless Jewel, a quick topic on random engine AoE, how important it is, what is Penance. Plenty of useful information you should definitely look your eye on, and those 3 versions that we should mention: the first swap, the version that we are playing right now and that I've been showcasing, and those in-game version later on, so you can give idea of what you can do later on with Penance. And a bit of crafting session there. I will complete this after. So thank you everyone watching the video. Sorry if it was a bit messy because there is a lot of stuff to talk about. If I forgot anything, just let me know in the comments. I will do some update comment and stuff. I will update the guide. So just let me know if there is anything you want to see in the future in the guide or in another YouTube video. Maybe some crafting. I think crafting amulet will be a good thing. Because it's not that hard to craft a good one. Same thing for crafting weapon. It's not that hard to craft a good one. And that will be good information for you. So thank you very much, everyone. I will see you in the next YouTube video. And bye.